What's going on, guys? Bflattened here with a brand new video for you today. This is going to be the Apache helicopter flak build. It's going to be relying off of the dark armies and the messy breakups to do as much damage as possible. Let's get right into it, shall we? So starting off with the blue tree, we're doing ferocity for flak's pets damage, dealing increased damage. Everything that is revolving around pet damage and pet crit damage is going to be super important for this build. So ferocity is definitely maxed out. Go for the eyes whenever flak's pet attacks an enemy. The first melee attack is an auto crit that deals increased damage by 135% because of our class mod. And then we have frenzy. Whenever flak's pet deals damage, flak and their pet gain a stack of frenzy. You get damage per stack of frenzy, so you can get it up to 40%. There's different ways that frenzy can stack. It's going to be off of drones, it's going to be off of the pet actually attacking an enemy, and also reflection from he-bites. So whenever flak's pet takes damage, the pet returns some of that damage to the attacker. With the pet returning damage to the attacker, this actually counts for pet damage. Even if it's not like him outputting the damage himself. So that can actually stack frenzy. You only need 1 point into he-bites because it only increases by 5% and 15% is just not worth it. The 5% is already good enough and it already stacks frenzy for you. Cycle head on a stick. Whenever flak kills an enemy, pet does increase movement speed and damage. You get more movement speed so that he can revive you with he-bites, or not he-bites, sorry, with lick the wounds. That'll be in a little bit later on in the tree, but basically your pet can revive you at a faster rate. And the pet damage is also increased by 20%. For 1 point, this is pretty good. Hive mind, whenever flak takes damage, a portion of all damage they take is shared to the pet instead, and their pet deals bonus damage for a short time. So if we take damage, the pet absorbs some of that damage, and then because of that, they do bonus damage because of it for 12 seconds. Shared spirit, so whenever flak is at low HP, a portion of the damage they take is converted into healing for their pet instead. So since we're running a deathless build, we're always at 1 HP, which means this is an always procced ability and skill. So every single time that we take damage from something, our pet absorbs some of that and heals himself instead, so that our pet can survive a lot longer. Remember, pet bonuses only apply when the pet is standing up. If the pet is in fight for your life, or if the pet is dead, you get no passives. Pack tactics, this one's super important. The max HP of flak and the pet is increased, and also damage is increased. So we get 21% damage for both me and the pet, and also the HP go up by 24% by maxing this out. I'm using Gamma Burst on this. Empathetic Rage, the entire duration of damage, entire duration of Gamma Burst, damage is increased by flak by 20%. And also Endurance, whenever me or the pet kill an enemy, Gamma Burst is extended 3 seconds per kill, and it can also stack up to 5 times. So you can get 50% extra pet damage, and you can also make your Gamma Burst last a long time. Atomic Aroma is also a pretty good option because you get your radiation aura around your pet, and this can also crit, I believe, which means that you can get all those crit passives as well. Since you're sending your pet in with Gamma Burst anyways, you can just send it to a nice group of enemies and all that radiation damage will apply. I have nothing in the red tree except for Two Fang because of the class mod. It's not super needed, but the class mod holds it, so we have it. So I have 2 points into Sikkim because Attack Command has lower cooldown and increased damage. We're actually going to be using Attack Command on this build, not through the new class mod because it's broken at the moment, but manual attack commands on things that need to die quickly. Sikkim can actually give you more increased damage against them, so you can get rid of them off the field a lot quicker. Say if something is completely immune to an element that you're using, the pet can just kind of take care of that for you. Or if you're going against the boss, you can just attack command the boss and you can do increased damage against them. Furious attack. After shooting an enemy, you get a stack of it. Stacks equals damage. And also you get pet damage with it as well. So it's another double benefiting bonus for this build. Overclock, so you get increased fire rate. Fire rate is going to be super important for this build because we want to empty our magazines as quickly as possible. So You get even more fire rate after reloading. So you, yeah, you want to empty your magazines as quickly as possible, and I'll show you why when we get into the field test for this. We were talking about lick the wounds earlier. This is actually a super good skill for 1 point. Whenever we are in fight for your life, the pet will attempt to revive us. If it does, it gets an increased 30% pet damage for 60 seconds. That's insane for 1 point. And we're actually going purple tree. Gotta go fast. Flax pet gains increased movement speed and damage. Maxing it out, you get 35% damage and 40% move speed. Also really, really good if you need your pet to come revive you. And you also get some pet damage for it as well. Agility training, you get 40% reload speed. So we're going to be dumping our fire rate into our weapons. And we're also going to be getting increased reload speed at a very high rate. So we get a little bit of a double benefit from both of these together. We want to reload as quickly as possible, and we also want to have an increased fire rate to empty our magazine as quickly as possible. Throat Ripper. Now this thing is absolutely insane. Flax Pet has a chance to score a critical hit, dealing increased damage. This is also going to be working for the pet versions of drones. They can crit. You have a 15% chance for your pets to crit, but yeah, it's not even just your warloader. The messy breakup drones on pet can also crit as well. And since we have points into drill for the eyes, there's potential for auto crits to happen. Whenever that chance happens, your critical damage is going to be increased by 135%. That's a lot of damage. Combat Vet, whenever Flax shoots the same enemy their pet is attacking, Flax pet gains a portion of the damage back as HP. So our pet gains lifesteal by 30%. And then this is how our pet is gaining Messy Breakup. You just give it a copy of your shield. There's a lot of shields that can actually work pretty well with this, but for this version of the build, Messy Breakup is pretty good. Other good variants could be like the Frozen Heart, so you can freeze enemies around you. If you're using like a melee variant of this build, you could probably use a Stinger. That would also work fairly well. But this one specifically is Messy Breakup. Monkey Dude. Now this one's also an insane skill. Flax Pet gains increased critical hit damage, and whenever Flax Pet scores a critical hit, Flax next shot deals bonus damage based on their weapon's damage. So we have chances for our pet to crit with Throat Ripper, and we have guaranteed crits with Go for the Eyes. Whenever our pet gets a crit, we get bonus damage based on the weapon damage by 70% of weapon damage, and they also get our pet also gains increased 70% damage. So 70% there and 135% here. We're swinging for over 200% critical hit damage just with those two skills alone. It hits hard. Not even a challenge. Whenever Flax Pet kills an enemy, Flag gains increased action skill duration and action skill duration or cooldown rate for a short time. This affects stacks. Okay, so we can have a maximum of 10 stacks on this thing whenever our pet kills an enemy. Our cooldown rate is going up by 35%, and our duration is also increased by 35%. We're using Gamma Burst. Gamma Burst has a very long duration as it is. Because we're also using Endurance, we are getting 3 seconds per kill. That stacks up to 5 times. That's an additional 15 seconds on our Gamma Burst, along with an extra duration from not even a challenge. Whenever our pet sends an enemy to their death, our action skill duration is increased by 35%, and we can do this 10 times. So we're gaining a lot of duration, and because of all this, Empathetic Rage, our damage is increased by 20% for the entire duration of Gamma Burst. So because Gamma Burst lasts 100 years, we get that 20% passive Gamma Burst for 20% damage while Gamma Burst is active for a very long time. It doesn't specify weapon damage or melee damage. It just says damage. So I'm going to be assuming that this is all sources. I actually haven't looked into that, but I'm going to assume it's all sources. And finally, Capitants. Whenever Flag activates their action skill, they gain increased shield capacity for a short time, and they recharge shields. So we have 75,000 shields with our Deathless and with our Messy Breakup. Whenever we activate Gamma Burst for the first time in a while, we get shield capacity and we recharge our shield. And we also get 100% shield capacity with this. So because this is a cooldown and duration of 16 seconds and Gamma Burst lasts 100 years, it is fairly nice that this is always active anytime our Gamma Burst is going to be active for us. And we're also using the Warloader as our pet. It gets a fire shotgun, and whenever we use attack command, it gets a barrage of missiles at the target that pretty much one-shot everything, and fire rate of 12% as a passive. Going into the items that we're using today, all Dark Armies. I only have 2 exceptional Dark Army on this build. It's the only ones I was able to find with URAD. That was my Radiation and my Cryo ones. My Shock and my Corrosion ones are not exceptional. What exceptional does is basically it's just more base damage on it. So as you can see, this one here has 6,700 and this one has 7,600, whereas the Dark Armies here only have like 5,000. Exceptionals will give you more like card damage. So messy breakup, we talked about this earlier. We get 2 drones with this, one for us, one for our pet, and 2 drones will be following us around. The one on our pet will be doing pet damage, so that hits hard, and whenever we activate our action skill, it will activate shield break, which gives us another temporary drone. Fish slab, we don't really throw this. This is more just for the action skill active for grenade damage. All of this is going to be counted for grenade damage. Anything that's a grenade was also grenade damage, but it's mostly for our Dark Armies because TDR counts for grenade damage. Because our Gamma Burst lasts for 100 years, we get that 150% bonus for a very long period of time. Now, the class mod could be swappable based on what you really want to do. The Deadeye, you and your pets do 35% damage against enemies above 75% HP. It hits super hard. However, Red Fang is also really good. This one comes with grenade damage, weapon damage, splash damage too, and 2 to Ferocity. So you get more pet damage with Ferocity, and also if you need some extra survivability for the cost of some damage, your pet will be taunting and distracting enemies so that you don't become the center of target. And I use an Atom Bomb Deathless on this. We're doing Radiation with URAD. So our Atom Bomb Deathless is going to be giving us more aura damage and aura burst damage. So the radiation explosions are going to be huge. It comes with area of effect damage and radiation damage, which is also really, really good. The only thing that's unfortunate on this is the magazine size. That actually hinders us a little bit, because we need the Dark Armies to empty their magazines in order to gain their effects. But that is the skill tree. That is the loadout that we're using. Let's go ahead and put this as a field test. So I'm going to use the Deadeye first just to show what kind of damage we're outputting. So we'll send Pet in there. That's just one-shotting everything. That thing's dead. I don't even have to shoot yet. We'll attack command that thing. And here's a barrage of missiles. Dead. That thing's dead. I don't even have to do anything. But if we want to make our pet not do all the work, I should probably start shooting or something, shouldn't I? Okay, so watch the... Did you see the meter go up there when our pet got a kill? Oftentimes, I let the pet just get kills. I let the pet steal kills because that means our Gamma Burst is going to be lasting for a very long period of time because of the one purple skill. Whenever our pet gets a kill, we get more duration of Gamma Burst, which means that we just get all sorts of the damage. It also increases our cooldown, so that's why our Gamma Burst came back so quickly there. Makes it so that our Gamma Burst is always readily available, if it's not already active as is. Super, super, super good skill for this kind of build. Look at that, it already went... Our pet is gaining and killing things so quickly that our Gamma Burst is just going right back up to as if we just first activated it. This build is insane. Now, since I'm not using a Red Fang, I actually am taking a little bit of damage here. Yeah, see, I actually went down there. If you don't want to have this sort of attention on you, you could just switch it out to the Red Fang and be completely fine. However, keep in mind that you are sacrificing some damage for it with the Deadeye Calm. 35% damage against enemies above 3/4 of their HP. It's not too bad, but it does become significant against bosses. Or even in the midst of a boss fight, whenever you eliminate that first quarter of HP, you can just switch over to the Red Fang. That way you can guarantee your survivability to be increased. And the Deadeye Calm isn't going to be any benefit for you at that point in the battle anyways. Now the good thing about having... Oh my god, that was a messy breakup kill. The good thing about having all these dark armies on you is that you can element match really easily. There's radiation, there's cryo, there's shock, and there's corrosion. So it can match an it can match any type of enemy that you need it to. The radiation and cryo is going to be more neutral, and shock and corrosive are going to be for armored and shielded enemies. There is also a fire variant in here. However, I don't really need or use a fire variant at all. Oh, actually, here's a good comparison between exceptional and normal Dark Army. But the fire one is in here as well. It's not an exceptional. It's only a normal. But there is one in case you want to go against fleshies. I'm going to meet you guys over at Tront just like we normally do. Just to fool around with Tront at the end. So I will see you guys when we get there. And as you can see there, Tront gets absolutely melted. Absolutely melted into next week. Yeah, Pet does a ton of damage. I want to say that the Pet did far more damage than I did. This time we're going to do something a little different on the Tront kill. I'm not going to fire my Dark Army. I'm going to make it so that it's just Pet versus... just Pet and just drones versus Tront. I will use attack command just so that we can get the extra Sikkim damage, so you can see what Sikkim actually does. But I'm not going to interfere in their 1v1 fight. I'm just going to toss a Gamma Burst, toss an attack command, and go from there. Oh, that just melted him. All right, let's do it. So we're going to wait for his wall. There it is. And we'll throw up Gamma Burst with Pet. I'll throw up a Sikkim. There's his nukes. The drones aren't targeting Captain Tront for some reason. Maybe I have to shoot for the Dark Army drones to attack. If that's the case, I actually didn't know that. Ah, there it is. Pet wasn't shooting for a crit, that's why. Pet was only going for normal damage. We really need Pet to crit, apparently, for that 200% crit damage to come through. Regular damage didn't seem to be as well there. All right, we'll do one more kill, and then I think we'll call it a video there. Oh, actually, one important thing that I didn't mention, that I usually mention for most builds. Shield reboot is actually super important with this build as well. Because we're running a deathless, we need as much shield capacity and recharge as much as possible. Killing an enemy triggers shield regeneration. So the more enemies that we're killing, the more shield regen that we're having. That is going to be a huge factor for survivability on this. Okay. So, Sikkim. And there's the barrage. Yep, Pet was actually hitting crits there. It seems like you need to fire in order for your drones to be doing fire, in order for your drones to be targeting as well. Because that was a much faster kill there. Final things to play around with before we call it there is a cut purse deathless. If you need to get ammo back for your dark armies, just slap on a cut purse deathless and throw a fish slap at an enemy. You'll get your ammo back because it counts as a melee hit, and cut purse only works on melee attacks. Other than that, I think that's going to be calling it for Drone Flak, Apache Drone Flak. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Bflattened, and I'm signing on out of here. Take care, all. Laters.